This is the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 6 and verse 32. It reads, My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So first and foremost, Kal Halayam La Alaha Yanawa Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakaha Kodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters that listening and learning. The title of this edification is Birthdays Are Not to be Celebrated. Alright? Birthdays are not to be celebrated. Okay? The inspiration from this lesson, alright? Today actually is my so-called birthday. Alright? Today, the 17th of August, is my so-called birthday. Alright? So I'm now actually hitting in my 40s. Alright, I'm now actually hitting in my 40s. Alright, I'm born in the 80s, in the mid 80s. Alright, so officially, you know, starting to hit the 40s. But nevertheless, you know, my stepmom, alright, my deceased father's wife, you know, you don't know what it is, you know, they don't have the understanding that we have, you know, we who in the shoot, you know, and, normally she will call, although she know I don't celebrate it, right, she know I don't celebrate it, and what have you, so forth, you know, and to be quite frank, I doesn't even acknowledge it, you know, and, I doesn't even acknowledge it to the point that is only one this morning. I see the date on my phone, and then it comes to me. I say, oh shucks, you know. Today is my so-called birthday, nativity, day of nativity, however you want to put it, you know. But I ain't had time to study it, you know. But to make a long story short, you know, she called me a little while, you know, and thing, and wish me happy birthday and this and that and the other, you know, and you know, it's still she still can't come to the understanding of why, you know, why do celebrate it, you know, why do even acknowledge it, you know. She was like, so you know, even thank the Lord, you know, for making it live to see another year and what have you, so forth. Hey, every day I thank the Lord. And anything, why it had to be that, you know? This is the thing with Jake, you know. Why it have to be that particular day, you know, you had to thank the Lord, you know, you're looking to thank the Lord for making it live to see another year. Why you can't thank the Lord every day for living to see every single day of your life? Now I understand where she's coming from, you know. You know, I understand. Not to say what I don't understand. I understand clearly where she's coming from. But the point what I'm making is, you know, I thank the Lord every day that I live to see another day, you know, and I don't acknowledge my birthday and whatnot, so forth. Back then in the world, yes. All right, back then in the world, yes. But ever since I came into the truth, like what, 2017, so it's like basically 9 years. This October, November, somewhere around there will make it 9 years that I'm in the truth, you know. And ever since I came into the truth, I don't acknowledge my birthday. All right? There is what it is, you know, because I come to the understanding, you know, this is why I start with this very set scripture here, because the men, you know, the men of Great Millstone, you know, being introduced to these men via the internet and whatnot, so forth, and a teacher, brother, and a God, and whatnot, so forth, you know, and doing my best to be diligent with the studying and learning and coming to the true understanding, you know, getting true wisdom, you know, come to the understanding and you know that everything that we are known in this world, everything that we are learning in this world and whatnot, so forth, outside of the truth is all lies, you know, and coming to the truth, you get to really understand what this whole thing is about. All right, there is where it is, yeah, you know, so yeah, you know, as I was saying, you know, these men, you know, give me the understanding, you know, so as I come into the truth, you know, I come to the realization that, you know, these things is not to be celebrated, you know, birthdays, Christmas, Easter, and all these other, you know, these things are paganism. All right, these things are paganism. As I say, you know, why it have to be that day in particular that, you know, I must give praise and thanks to the Lord that He make me live to see another year. Hey, give thanks and praise to the Lord that you live to see another day. All right, that you live to see another day. There is where it is. You understand? There is what it is. All right. So what I'm going to do is go to some scriptures and prove and show, and go in and do some research and prove and show, you know, what is the real essence of birthday celebration? Why, you know, why it is not to be celebrated, why birthdays is not to be celebrated, you know, and acknowledged. All right, even in my acknowledgement, oh, push boy, yes, you know, Jake in the wood, thank you, Father. You know, I get to see another day, and I get to see another another birthday, and I hope to see many, many more, and all that nonsense. All right. all that is vain. All right, all that is vain. So let's take a look at Jeremiah, because Jeremiah cursed the day that he was born. All right, Jeremiah 20. All right, Jeremiah 20 and 14. Jeremiah 20 and 14. All right, and I'll read all the way down to the last verse. Jeremiah 20:14, where it reads, "Cursed be the day wherein I was born." All right, Jeremiah cursed the day that he was born. He didn't celebrate the day that he was born. All right, Jeremiah didn't celebrate the day that he was born. All right, he cursed the day that he was born. All right, curse the day that I was born. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. All right, yeah, let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. So if Jeremiah cursing the day that he was born, and he is saying, all right, Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. You really think that throughout the years of his life he was actually celebrating his birthday? Come on. Come on. You understand? Cursed be the man who brought tidings. Yeah? Cursed be the man who brought tidings, who brought gifts. Yeah? Cursed be the man who brought tidings to my father, saying, a man-child is born unto thee, making him very glad. So Jeremiah is putting up curses on all those whosoever had brought gifts to his father, saying, hey, you're getting a boy, you have a boy child, a boy child in Israel, whatnot, so forth, this, that, the other. All right? Because back then, as a man getting a son, was a blessed thing, because your name will be able to carry on, your name will be able to live on, and not just only your name, but your nation is going to increase. All right, your race, you're adding to your nation, you're adding to your race. All right, but you see, the thing is, a matter of fact, let me read, let me read, and let that man, all right, and let that man be as the cities which the Lord overthrew and repented not, like for instance Sodom and Gomorrah, and let him hear the cry in the morning and the shouting at noontide, because he slew me not from the womb. All right, because he slew me not from the womb, or that my mother might have been my grave, and that my womb be always great with me. Wherefore came I forth out of the womb to what? To see labor and sorrow, that my days should be what? Consumed with shame. Yeah? Because what you Jakes have to understand, all right, other than the fact that birthday celebrations is a highly satanic order, apart from that fact, all right, we who are in the nation of Israel, all right, that came here through the Western Hemisphere, through the transatlantic slave trade, along with the so-called Native American Indians and the Caribs, the Arawaks, the Mayans, the Aztecas, the Incas, the Seminole Indians, who are the children of Israel, all right? We here are under abject poverty and curses, all right? We are under abject poverty, curses, servitude, all right? We are the bottom. So there is nothing to celebrate. All right, we are in Babylon. All right, you celebrating we are in Babylon. Hey, this is Babylon. This is confusion we are living in. All right, America is Babylon the Great, and we are living in the Americas. So what? This basically we are living in the provinces of Babylon. All right, America is Mystery Babylon the Great, and we are living in the provinces of Mystery Babylon. All right. We didn't came, the Lord didn't send us here. The Lord didn't send us here to have a good time, and to enjoy slavery. Basically, that is what it is with you Negroes who celebrating your birthdays and whatnot, so forth, Basically, you are actually celebrating your slavery. All right? You are actually celebrating your slavery. This is what it is. This is what it is. Jeremiah is saying here what? Wherefore came I forth out of my mother womb to see labor, servitude, being slaves, and sorrow, that my days should be what? Consumed with shame. It's the same sentiments when you go to the Apocrypha. The same sentiments, 2nd Ezra chapter 5, and I will start at 31, is the same sentiments that Ezra had, which is Ezra in the Bible. All right, bear with me. I'll highlight that. All right. Now, this is Ezra here speaking to the angel. All right, Ezra here speaking to the angel and having deep founded questions towards the angel and what have you, so forth, because he was like, he wanted to know why, Israel, which is such a great nation, the Lord's chosen people, whatnot, so forth, created to be rulers of the earth and whatnot, so forth. Why it is that these people are in such a dilapidated state and going through all this torment, going through all this persecution, going through all these trials, tribulation. All right? There's where it is. Verse 31, 2nd Ezra 5:31 in the Apocrypha. Now when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me the night afore was sent unto me, and said unto me, hear me, and I will instruct thee. Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell thee more. And I said, speak on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, thou art sore troubled in mind for Israel's sake. All right? Because when you go through and you read first Ezra, 2nd Ezra, and whatnot, so forth, and see what all Israel going through, and see that, all Israel been going through at that time, and what Israel is going to even go through the greater troubles in the latter days, in the last days. The angel is showing him in the future also what will become of Israel. And what have you, so forth. And these things were so troubling these things were so troubling unto Ezra. You understand? So it says here, and I said, spake on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, thou art so troubled in mind for Israel's sake. Lovest thou that people better than he that made them? So he telling them, because what the angel is showing him is the Lord that has put in Israel through all these torments, all these hardships. It's the Lord. This is the doing of the Lord. All right, because why? Israel was disobedient. The nation of Israel had always been a disobedient, rebellious, wicked people, continually doing wickedness. All right, continually doing wickedness. There's what it is. All right. It says, and I said, no, Lord, but of my grief have I spoken, for my reins pain me every hour, while labor to comprehend the way of the Most High, and to seek out part of his judgment. And he said unto me, thou canst not. And I said, wherefore, Lord? Whereunto was I born then? Why am I being here in this misery? Whereto was I born then? Or why was not my mother's womb then my grave, that I might not have seen the travail of Jacob and the wearisome toil of the stock of Israel? You understand? Because, Ezra couldn't really stand the sight of what he actually see and pursuing to his people and what had become of them. Where is his sense being born? This is the thing. What is his sense? What is his sense being born and living under this wicked rulership of Esau, Edom, being subjected unto these heathens, all right? Being the borrower and not the lender, all right? Going to this man for every want of things, being under the judgment curses. Even when I was in the world, and boy, I go through some kind of torments in my life. I go through some kind of situations, years and ages. It's only by the grace of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that I here living to tell the tale. But I used to be why you have me here on this earth, Lord? Why born? Why? You know? Why didn't you just basically, why didn't you? I used to be like, why? Where's the purpose of me being here? Why I was born for? But as I come into the truth, I got to understand that, the Lord put me here because He have a mission for me, which is to teach this word. Go out on the highways and byways and prophesy and teach. Teach the truth. You understand? This is what it is here. This is what it is here. When you go to Job, all right, when you go to Job, let's go to Job 1 and 4. Now watch this. Job 1 and 4. Watch this carefully. Job 1 and 4. And his sons went and feasted. A matter of fact, you know something? Let me go to the blue letter. Alright, Job 1. Let me go to the blue letter. Now watch this. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day. Alright, and we're going to see what that actually is speaking of. When it says every one his day. And sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. Yeah? Right? Now watch this, verse 5. And it was so when the days of their feasting, alright, just now. Right, yeah. And it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job, you know, that after every one of them, after their day, after they feasted and whatnot, so forth, the celebration. Well, let me see what Job was doing. And it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them. Yeah? He offered burnt offerings according to the number of them, for Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, have sinned, and cursed Yahweh in their hearts. Thus did Job continually every time, because what they was doing. Let we go to the translation comparisons. All right. When I go to the translation comparisons, we don't really KJV. The NKJV says, and the sons would go and feast in their houses, each on his appointed day, and would send and invite to their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. All right. The NLT said Job's sons would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. All right. Let's go down. All right. All of them saying on his day, right? Bear with me. All right. In the NIV here, watch what it's saying here in the NIV. And his sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays. That when it's speaking of on one's day, it's speaking of their birthdays. All right, on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them, which is what? Birthday party. Where you know today as your birthday party. All right, this is what it is. And birthdays, celebrating birthdays and acknowledging birthdays is Satanism. It is Satanism, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you the proof. All right? Celebrating and acknowledging your birthdays, brothers and sisters, it is Satanism. Now, when you go back, let's go back. Let's go back. Now, when you read verse 5 and it sees that what Job was doing, he was what? Job was setting up a burnt offering. All right? Now, when you go to, let's go to this here. I'll come back to that. Burnt offering. All right? Let's see what burnt offerings is all about. In the Hebrew Bible, a burnt offering or olah was a sacred sacrifice where an entire unblemished animal was completely burned on an altar. The primary reasons for this ritual were to make general atonement for human sins, which basically was for the sins of your people, Israel. All right? A general atonement. All right? To substitute an innocent life for the guilty. All right? For the guilty worshipper, and to symbolize total selfless surrender and devotion to Yahweh. All right? So basically, because the burnt offering was basically a voluntary something and devotion. All right? And to make an atonement for sins, generally, and this is the thing, because Job was doing that because he knew what his sons were doing were wickedness. They were sin. That was a sinful act. Because let's go to this. Let's come out of here and go to this. All right? Because this is what it is here. The connection between satanic worship, because as I said, celebrating birthdays, acknowledging birthdays is a satanic act. All right? I'm saying that day and something now come to my head with two scriptures, which I will get. The connection between satanic worship and birthday celebration stems primarily from modern religious philosophy. All right? From modern religion, because they try how to play it, they're trying to camouflage it, dress it up, because all these religions, Seventh-day Adventists, what do they call them? Jehovah Witness, they don't celebrate it. They don't deal with birthdays and Christmas and what not so forth. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they're still under Satan. All right, all religion is under Satan. All. Christianity is just reformed paganism. All right, Christianity is reformed paganism. That's basically what it is. But I'm saying this to say that religion, they all support birthdays and whatnot so forth and camouflage it, we giving praise and thanks to the Lord for making me live to see another year. No. The scripture says what? I will come back to that. Let me come here. No, not one. Must see how I could paraphrase it. So, come on, man. A day. Let me see something here. I'm going to paraphrase it so as short as possible. Alright. Alright, I had a real because it's in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, the matter, yeah, no, bear with me, I will find it. I will find it. I will find it. Because I don't want to come out of that while reading there. Alright, so good. Ecclesiastes. Alright. Is it Ecclesiastes, boy? Or is it Job? That's now. I will have to think that, yes. I'll come back to that. I have no choice. I'll come back to that. Who can change an unclean into a clean? That's roughly paraphrasing. KJV. It's Job 14:4. I thought it was Ecclesiastes. Alright, so let's go to that. The book of Job, chapter 14 and 4, where it reads, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Alright? So this is the thing. Celebrating birthdays goes back to Satanism. Satanism is unclean. That is an abomination. Alright? And here it is, you taking an abominable act, alright, and trying to twist it and turn it into something, you know, and basically being in a delusional spirit, thinking that the Lord will accept that, you know, because you know, I'm not worshiping Satan, but you know, I'm thanking God, you know, that He make me live to see another year, celebrating my birthday and whatnot, so forth, you know, acknowledging my birthday, giving thanks, you know, say you're holding you know, if you're in Christianity, deep Christianity, you know, you say you're holding a prayer vigil or a prayer something, or wherever the hell it may be. The Lord not acknowledging that. The Lord do not hear all prayers first to begin with. Alright? The Lord do not hear all prayers. The Lord does not hear the prayers of sinners. Alright? The Lord does not hear the prayers of sinners. Okay? There is what it is. And you can't take it come like and you know, you go ask some of them, they go try the thing. Well, I don't really celebrate it, you know, but I just acknowledge it, and in the sense of, you know, giving God praise and thanks. You know, it's not really a birthday party, but I just giving God praise and thanks and whatnot, so forth. You know, it come like you know, you like those who it come like those, you know, who say, I don't celebrate Christmas, but I just like to see the lights. I just like to put up the lights in the house, but I don't really celebrate the Christmas, you know. Come on. You're being a hypocrite. Alright, for those, you know, you're being a hypocrite. Alright? That is a satanic act. Even simply that's acknowledging your birthday. You know? Is a satanic act. Let's go back to the thing there. Basically. Right, good. Good. So as I was reading this here, because there's something that I need to thing here. It says modern philosophy, particularly within LaVeyan Satanism, that goes to Anton LaVey. All right, he was the man who established the Satanic Church, the Church of Satan. An individual's own birthday is considered the highest, an individual's own birthday is considered the highest and most important holiday of the year. All right? And this man, despite that he is a Satanist, he is speaking the truth. Because you feel the man, this is the man that was responsible for writing the Satanic Bible and what have you, so forth. You feel this man didn't go through his full research within occultism and what have you, so forth. Where you feel there's a stupidity. You understand? This man went through the ins and outs, studying the highest levels of witchcraft from Egyptology and from Sumeria, all right, which is ancient Babylon, all right, because this is where all these holidays and whatnot, so forth, Christmas and all these things, these things goes all the way back to ancient Babylon, including your birthdays. Celebrating of your birthdays and whatnot, so forth, that goes back to ancient Babylon. That's Satanism. All right? That go back all the way back to your boy Nimrod. All right, and the word and Nimrod just means rebel, to rebel. The word Nimrod means to rebel. And we all know how rebellious Nimrod was towards the Most High. All right? So it says it is the most important day of the year. And we will show you why. This connection stems directly from the foundational text of the Church of Satan, which approached the concept of a birthday from a perspective of radical individualism and self-worship. This is the reason why we don't celebrate birthdays. We of the Hebrew Israelite community, all right? We of the nation of Israel, the true Israelites that come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, come back to the heritage, come to the true understanding. That's the reason why I read that first scripture there in Sirach 6 and 32, going all the way down to the last verse. All right? That's the reason why. You know, we adhere to the men, to the wise men and whatnot, so forth, who did their studies, did their research, and come out to the teachings and whatnot, so forth, and get the true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and come to the realization that, hey, that birthday celebration and all these things is wrong. These things is of Satan. You could try to brush it however you want to brush it and paint it over and whatnot, so forth. The stain is still underneath. The stench is still underneath. The decay, it is still there. You understand? It says here, the relationship between satanic worship and what? Birthday celebrations is defined by specific philosophical pillars outlined in the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. All right, it says the individual as a god, all right, because this is what it is. This is what it, because again, this goes into self-worship. This goes into pride. All right, you seeing yourself as your own creator, your own God, your own power source. You understand? The individual as a god, because LaVeyan Satanism is an atheistic, self-centered philosophy. It does not worship an external deity, which is Yahweh. Instead, which is the Most High Yahweh. Instead, it posits that every individual is their own God. Therefore, the anniversary of his own birth is celebrated as the most significant event in that person's universe. You understand? And this goes all the way back to Nimrod. This go all the way back to Babylon. All right, we did our research on these things. We ain't just coming out and speaking all willy-nilly. You understand? All right, it's coming down. It says Anton LaVey explicitly stated that the highest of all holidays in the satanic religion is the date of his own birthday. It takes precedence over traditional seasonal holidays like Wapersurgenus or Halloween, which go right. All right, because even when I go on a research, this year, let me see. When I go on a research this year, satanic worship and BIRTH. I don't know why the yellow birthday cakes. All right, so good. Watch this. Watch this. All right, they say it doesn't be another part of satanic worship, right? But watch this. Esau feel the slick. Esau really feel the slick, you know. But anyhow, birthday cakes and candles are not part of satanic worship. Their traditions trace back to ancient pagan custom. Paganism is Satanism. All right? Paganism is Satanism. Anything that is not of Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai, it is Satanism. Anything that is not of the Most High, because paganism goes into what? Idol worship and what not so forth. Idol worship is Satanism. You could try to butter it up, paint it over, however you want to do it. Paganism is idol worship. Idol worship is Satanism. But anyhow, their traditions trace back to ancient pagan customs, such as honoring the Greek moon goddess Artemis with glowing round cakes, and old folks believed that fire and smoke could ward off evil spirits or carry prayers upwards towards the pagan gods. You see why celebrating of your birthday is not of the Most High. It is not of the Most High. And this is the reason why Job was to do what he was doing pursuant to verse 5. He was to continually send up burnt offerings on behalf of them, his sons and his daughters, because of the wicked acts that they were doing by celebrating of their birthdays. Because birthdays goes into what? When they go, let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. Because watch this, right? We just read that what your birthday signifies, self-worship. You having yourself, you putting up yourself as a deity, what not so forth, which goes into pride and what not so forth. Now watch this. Let's go back to verse 5. All right, we don't see verse 4. This is what they were doing, celebrating the birthdays. I prove it to you in the other translations. All right, verse 5. And it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about that Job sent and sanctified them and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings. He rose up early in the morning every time after every one of them celebrate the birthday, his sons and them. He will get up in the morning and offer up burnt offerings for the sinful acts. Right? Every morning offering burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and curse Yahweh in their hearts, in their minds. Yeah? Because why? They see themselves as the own God, the own power. Because this is what acknowledging and celebrating your birthday, it signifies. You could talk whatever you want to say and put it however you want to put it, but I acknowledging God for making me live to see another year. You cannot take an unclean thing and make it clean. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. This is what it is. Now when you go down, let's go down to verse 13. Right? And there was a day, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking, wine in the eldest brother's house, celebrating the birthdays. What's the judgment that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai bring forth? What's the judgment? And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding besides them, and the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. The Sabians are a band of Hamites, all right, who are Africans, so-called Africans, all right, but they are from the lineage of Ham, all right, one of the youngest son of Noah. All right, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of Yahweh is fallen from heaven, and had burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans cut 3 bands and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, is when he judgment after judgment the Lord doing, and he was celebrate birthday. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking in their eldest brother's house, celebrating birthday, man. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house. And smote the 4 corners of the house. Yahweh Shai break down the house upon them. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And they are dead. Yahweh Shai put them to death. And I am only escaped alone to tell thee. He put them to death. Hey, even Job cursed the day that he was born. So why celebrate birthdays? This is why the scripture said, when they go to Sirach, no, Jeremiah Salakia, going to Jeremiah 4 and 22. Jeremiah 4 and 22, where it reads what? Jeremiah 4:22. For my people is foolish. You Israelites is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children. They have none understanding. They are wise, they are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. Our people are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. They have no knowledge. You understand? This is what it is. When you go to, watch this. This is even more proof that birthdays is not a thing for us Israelites to celebrate. If the heathens want to do it, which is the heathens is who? Non-Israelites. If the heathens, if the East Indian, the so-called Chinese man, the so-called Japanese man, the Arabs, these Hamites, If they all want to celebrate their birthday, that's fine and good with them, because they are not the children of the Most High. The Most High have no dealings with them. If the so-called white man want to celebrate the birthday, which is going to go into account here and prove something here, all right? If the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, he wants to celebrate his birthday, that has nothing to do with the Lord. The Lord could care less about that. He cares about us, the children of Israel, and what we do. This is what it is. This is what it is. Hey, let's go to 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. Alright? This was during the Grecian captivity, where it reads, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. This is what we was going through. This is the persecution. This is the persecution we was going through under the Grecians, in the Grecian captivity. Alright? Under these Edomites, the so-called white man. Alright? This is what we was going through. Now watch this. Showing you that this birthday celebration is a wicked, wicked satanic act. And in the day of the king's birth, every month, yeah, and in the day of the king's birth, and in the day of the king's birth, his birthday, every month they were brought by bitter constraint, right? Which means every year, every month within you know, the birthday month within every year. Alright, they were brought by bitter constraint, which means they were forced, alright, to eat of the sacrifices. Alright, so which means what? This man was holding banquet and whatnot, so forth. Alright, because when you go back, woo, I'll come back to this. Let's go back. Let's go to 1 Maccabees. Woo! That's the spirit. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. When you go to 1 Maccabees 1, and let's start at 41. 1 Maccabees 1 and 41, where it reads, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, all right? That all should be one people, which they want to go back to the Tower of Babel, which they're trying to bring back here now, in this period here now, via the RFID microchip, whatnot, so for the mark of the beast. But anyhow, nevertheless, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed. Everyone should leave their laws, their customs, right? So all the heathen, the non-Israelites, agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites, wicked Israelites, consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. All right, but let me read the reason why they were targeting the Israelites mainly. Let's read the reason why. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings. Burnt offerings goes into what? Atonement for sins. Atonement for sins for the people. You know, you literally volunteering this, because burnt offering goes in is really a voluntarily act. Alright, it's a voluntarily act, and you showing your devotion and whatnot, so forth, to the Most High. You will get that account in Leviticus 1 and also in Leviticus 6. Alright? This is what it is. And he forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices, alright, and drink offerings in the temple. Alright, so basically he didn't want Israel to repent. Alright? And that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves, yes, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and abomination and profanation, Salakia, to the end, this is the reason why he was doing it, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Now, this, right? So we read in here, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances of their God, their power. All right, all the ordinances that the Most High gave unto Moses for Moses to give unto the children of Israel. No, if birthday celebration was not a wicked act, if birthday celebration was not a wicked act, then, right, why would the children of Israel, going back to the 2nd Maccabees 6 and verse 6, right? Then why? Let me read it again. I'll read it over again. Neither 2nd Maccabees 6 and 6, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, right? Because they want them to forget who they are and forget the law and everything, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint. Every time when the king's birthday come about, right? This was Ptolemy. All right, this was Ptolemy. Okay, he was forcing this upon the children of Israel. Even Antiochus also too. All right, they were forcing this upon the children of Israel to acknowledge the king's birthday. They were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. Yeah? To eat of the sacrifices. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, right, which goes into Carnival, all right, the Jews were compelled, they were forced to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy. With that carrying ivy, that goes into your costumes and whatnot, so forth. You understand? So this just goes to show how wicked the celebration of birthdays and the celebration of Carnival and all these things, how wicked these things are. You can't brush it over and talk about, a thanking the Most High, and this and that and the... No, the Most High don't want that. Again, we are in hell. We living in hell. We are in hell. Yeah? We are in hell. And you want to celebrate. You want to celebrate hell? You want to celebrate hell? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should what? Observe the same fashions. Observe the same fashions. Alright? Hence the reason from that time till now, Jake, you Israelites been celebrating your birthdays and acknowledging your birthdays and all these wicked acts, Carnival and all these nonsense. Alright? Because it was beaten, it was murdered into your forefathers, to the point, it come down, the acknowledgement of the wicked act now been engraved into the mind of their descendants here today, that they see no wrong in it. Yeah, that they see no wrong in it. Yeah, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then mighty man have seen the present misery. You understand? There is where it is there. And that is why Job had was to do what he was doing. Yeah? Because Job was knowing and seeing the wicked act of his son. That is why when I go to Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, when I go back to Sirach, all right, Job know the wickedness his son was doing. What did the book of Sirach say? Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Yeah? Desire not in the multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Though they multiply, yeah, though you may have many and many children, yeah, you're fruitful and multiply. Rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them. Only if they have fear for the Most High and do according to the Most High, well then, trust not thou in their life, neither respect them, all right, neither respect Salakia. For one that is just, all right, for one, all right, only one of them, if you have a multitude and maybe just one of them that is just, is better than 1,000, and better it is to die without children than to have them that are what? That are ungodly. You understand? Because this thing of celebrating birthdays is a prideful act. That's why I will leave with this last scripture here. Sirach 10, all right? And what? Sirach 10 and 7. Sirach 10 and 7, it reads, pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by what? And by both doth one commit iniquity. Yeah? And when you continually celebrating and acknowledging your birthday and whatnot, that is iniquity. Verse 13. For pride is the beginning of what? For pride is the beginning of sin. And he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, like what he did unto Job and his sons, strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. Yeah, because they were prideful in their heart, and they were self-worshipping, and what have you, so forth, and they curse Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai just by that simple, just by that simple, not that serious act of celebrating birthdays. Yeah? So what? Birthdays are not to be celebrated. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad, signing out, saying Kal Halayam La Alahaya Nawa Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Rakah HaKodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone at Ruel. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites. Shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat. Your brother Kahan signing out, saying Shalom, 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 Yasher Allah.